Hello, everybody. My name is Johanna Faries. I am the head of leagues at Activision Blizzard, and it is my esteemed pleasure to be able to play moderator for this discussion today, where we're going to shed light on some of the amazing colleagues that I feel very lucky to work with. Each of them represent different parts of the company. So for those who may be new to not only the gaming industry or even the esports industry, but what Activision Blizzard is, it's a highly matrixed global corporation. And we have offices all over the world focused on delivering top tier gaming IP, top tier esports engagement and activities, and so much more. And so when you do hear from the coworkers today, who we're very lucky to have with us, to have a conversation about our experiences and our professional and personal journeys here at the company, it's important to keep in mind that many of them represent different units, different divisions, even different regions of the world, as we talk about our journeys here at the company. But without further ado, I'm going to let the panelists introduce themselves. So I will kick it over. Why don't we start with Mayumi?
Hello. My name is Mayumi Nakamura, and I am part of the corporate communications team. I also serve as an advisor to various people and places around the company on various diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And I'm just really super proud to be here today. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Mike, why don't you go?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Mike Chubb, and I am a senior visual effects artist at Treyarch. I've been there for about, all told, 7.5 years, but I started in 2011, May of 2011, and then went away for a while and came back because Treyarch is an awesome place to work. But in the video game industry at large, I've been in the game industry since, 1999. I am old. It's great to be here. Each one of you is stellar at your job, but more importantly, you're stellar people, and I'm just happy to be a part of the conversation to talk about my experience in the video game industry at large, and especially here at Treyarch and Activision.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Quentin, why don't we go to you?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Quentin Johnson. I'm an observer for the Call of Duty League. What that means essentially is we're like the in-game camera operators. We help tell the story of any match that's going on in progress and making sense of that chaos to provide a fun and entertaining broadcast for everyone watching around the world. Prior to that, I was actually a commentator within Call of Duty esports for a couple of years and found my way in the scene through a talent search. So kind of a weird journey to find my way to where I am today. And it's an honor to be here for sure. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Obviously, I'm a little biased to Quentin and what he does here at the company, but amazing work. Thanks, Q. And Courtney, last but not least.
Yes. Hi, my name's Courtney Parker. I'm a senior project manager on planning. My main objective with my job is to connect and to be the conduit between our game development teams, our platform application, e-commerce, and design teams that build out the Battle.net platform that you have to log into to play all of the games and where you receive all of your content. So we are a very heavy tech organization, very large organization, but there's never a dull moment, and I'm really enjoying my time on this team. I've loved being at Blizzard. It's just such an amazing place where they truly, truly believe in your values and embracing your inner geek. And also, I'm part of the Women's Network Leadership Team, which is how I met Johanna, and part of our D&I groups, ensuring that women have a voice in our building ally partnerships at Blizzard Entertainment too.
Awesome. Thanks, Courtney. So I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into each of your roles specifically, because as we think about who's listening, I think there's probably going to be a high potential that people are listening for the first time or learning about the industry for the first time and saying, wow, I didn't even know that job existed. So if you were to speak a little bit more in detail about what does a week in the life look like for you? What does a month in the life look like for you? What does your job really entail? And then we'll get into, a little bit more of the nuance of the experiences. But what do you do at Activision Blizzard, and how would you explain it a little bit more in depth? So Mayumi, why don't we start with you?
Oh, okay. Changes every week, week to week. But basically, in the comms department, things are happening very quickly. And so constantly keeping your eye on like what's happening, what's coming down the pipeline, what do we need to talk about? How can we put a strategy around this to make sure that we're delivering the messaging in the best way? We're doing a lot of DE&I work across the company. And so, we launched a new internal intranet. So just thinking about how are we positioning diversity, equity, and inclusion on these internal platforms, and making sure that all of the information is there, all of the training resources, making sure that all of the videos and information on our employee networks are there, making sure that everyone is speaking the same language and we're all pointing in the same direction with what we're saying. As a communications person, that's what you do, you communicate.
Yeah, it's a great answer. And the reason I like it too is I think a lot of people I've fallen in this trap in prior years of my life, right? Thinking of joining a gaming company is on the development side or, very much on the tech side, which we'll also cover, but you can be a best in class communications executive here and really push a lot of agenda forward. So very cool.
Yeah, keeping people all on the same page and keeping people motivated and inspired, and bringing a level of transparency to the community so that they know what leadership is up to and what the company is doing and what direction we're going in. I mean, people invest a lot of time into their jobs and their careers, and people stay at Activision Blizzard for a long time. And it's not because I'm just going to stay here. It's because they feel a sense of connection and community.
Love it. Mike, how about you?
How about me? The easiest way for me to describe what I do specifically as a visual effects artist is to say I make things blow up. But when I say that, people run. So I need to be clear that I'm not making actual things blow up. In the computer, I'm making things blow up, or I'm making a water fountain, or I'm making a cloud in the sky, or rain. Anything that is an atmospheric effect, whether it be naturally occurring or imaginary, that is usually what we call a visual effect in a game, and that's my responsibility. Weapon effects, grenades exploding, cars exploding, anything. Did I mention exploding? I just make things blow up. That's my deal.
I love it. That's so cool. Courtney, why don't you talk about your job?
Kind of like all of you, it is very different day to day. I think that's just part of the nature of working for such a large company. But my day to day is just ensuring that I heard a lot of cats in the cliche that is actually true. So it's a lot of working with different types of personalities, really understanding how to speak to those different disciplines. Because if you're speaking to a room of designers and engineers and more of the business strategy and sales side and marketing, a lot of what you say can be interpreted differently. So you really need to pay attention to who your audience is, how you're presenting the facts and logic behind what you need to do. So I have a lot of fun because I get to work with all different facets of the business. So I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I get to see how the whole 360 is put together. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's just a lot of talking and communicating. But I love it. I'm never bored because it's something different and new people every day.
Yeah, it's amazing. The PMO function here that I've seen is just not only world class what you guys do, but it is exactly what you just described. Like it is the difference maker from good to great or disaster to actually getting something shipped on time and out the door in a really good way. It's like incredible the glue that you guys represent as far as just getting ideas into an action plan that can actually, move the business forward. So it's been awesome to experience that.
Thank you. And we love to hear that people understand that's why we're really here. We're not here to play a parental role.
For sure.
Telling you what you can and cannot do.
What deadline you missed. Yeah. Awesome. And Quentin.
Within our observer team for Call of Duty League, we have a team of 6 people. So breaking that further down into specific roles, we have, and I'm one of these people, we're focused on like first person point of view. So imagine if you're looking at a basketball game right now, imagine everyone has a GoPro strapped on top of their head is kind of the best way. And I think the way a lot of people think about it is you're looking through the eyes of the player. right? So in the same way you would experience a Call of Duty game, that's sort of what we're focused on and looking at. We also have 2 to 3 free camera observers who are normally trying to pick up shots and cinematics around the map as the action's going on to really help broaden the story, show the wide picture before we really focus in on some of the first person action as well, because it can be really hectic, it can be really back and forth. So telling that story through both is really important. And then of course we have an in-game director who helps weave everything together, I think is the best way of putting it. So day to day, especially on broadcast days, right now we're in the middle of what, our second major of the season, so it's really exciting. But the day to day essentially looks the same from a schedule point of view, but no match is ever the same, right? So it's always something different. Teams have sort of different personalities, I guess you could say. And I've always thought about it as there's a conversation happening at any time between two teams. So while you could think of it as like, I'm better, it's more just like, okay, you did this, we're going to do this. How are you going to respond? So in moment to moment, it's really looking for, okay, this happened, what causes the next effect? You're looking for the dominoes to fall, and big picture, it's like, how does this lead towards that team's success? When we're not in broadcast days, a lot of the time goes into the preparation, looking for cool things around maps, looking for cool effects, right? Things that we can show off, things we get really excited about in broadcast. And it's also looking at teams with more of a fine-tooth comb and trying to pay attention, okay, what's their story going forward? What makes this team unique? And how can we best tell this story going for the future of the league, going into the next game? Everything just trying to make sure we're doing the best job possible to put the league in best foot forward and make sure we deliver some amazing content.
Thanks for that. And as somebody who sits in the esports vector with Quentin, I think he knows how amazing I find the work. I mean, for anyone who is lucky enough to walk into a room and watch the observer team of any esport do what they do is not only a tremendous feat, the intuition they need to have, the understanding of the maps, the modality, the way, to Quentin's point, the teams are playing it, but also the way in which they as a unit communicate to make sure they're capturing the action. It's just incredible to watch, and it's just been so awesome to be a part of it with you guys at the helm. So thank you, and thanks for what you guys do every day. Just wanted to dive in a little bit more on our specific experiences here, and I wanted to start, Quentin, with you, and then we'll go to Mike. But Q, just looking back at your time here at Activision Blizzard, what have been some of your personal highlights in your career journey thus far?
So for me, I think obviously the big highlight for me was helping launch Call of Duty League, right? Like Johanna, you put in so much work with this, and everyone on the team has been really focused since the actual launch in 2020 and a lot of the work that came before that. So obviously that's a huge thing for me. And outside of that, I would say the final in-person like LAN event we had in LA was really cool because I spent a lot of time looking at Call of Duty in first person, right? So stepping into the director's chair for the in-game directing was something that forced me to interact with the game in a different way. And first caught me completely off guard because there was some last minute changes and everything that led to me stepping into that chair. But really being put in a position to tackle that challenge and see, okay, in this situation, we're finally finding our groove. I need to interact with this completely different way. What does that look like? How are we telling this story? I thought that was something that was really interesting, really engaging. And although I haven't been able to do it again since, I can't wait to. And it's a lot of fun. And the reason I haven't is just because I feel like we've hit a really good stride as an observer team. So making sure we keep this going, I feel is always a lot more important. And because of just the way I normally interact with the game, I sort of like it.
It's awesome. How about you, Mike? What about some personal highlights for you?
Let's see. Wow, personal highlights in my time here at Treyarch and Activision. I don't know if it sounds cheesy or whatever, but a highlight really is it every day I wake up, I'm working on a cultural phenomenon that this is what I asked for. And so now it's like the pressure's on. I gotta live up to what I asked for. So that ship day, that launch day is always, and even with downloadable content and stuff that comes after as we're adding on, it's always that moment when the public finally, and when the fans and players finally get to see all the hard work and get to enjoy it, and people that notice little things that we may have thrown in there that if you're not paying attention you won't see, but someone that appreciates that, those are the moments I live for. So yeah, couple in there.
And you both kind of ooze that passion that has always stood out to me. You know, I'm relatively new to the company too, but it's not just, to your point, the amazing people along the way and what we get to do, and call it a job, but you guys emanate that passion for every day, you know, what you're working on. And I really find that that's such a singular quality of so many people here at the company. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I want to turn it to Mayumi for a second here and talk a little bit more about the industry more broadly, right? Share with us some of your thoughts, just as minority leaders in the gaming and esports industry. What opportunities do you see for improvement?
I think we've made some great strides in the industry, particularly over 2020. People were forced to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. They were forced to look at minority groups and say, wait, how are we supporting these groups and what can we do better? I think we've also realized that it's harder to find talent, minority talent, and that we've got to kind of be creative and looking for talent in places that maybe we haven't looked before. I think we've got to do a little bit of a better job cultivating the younger generation, mentoring, you know, instead of just going to the same schools for the talent, like let's look at the places where maybe the talent is there, they just didn't have the grades or they just didn't have the opportunity. And so, you know, really digging deep and being creative in where we're finding our talent, starting to cultivate talent at a very young age, start looking at, you know, middle school, high school kids, because what we want to see in the industry is not going to happen overnight. And as we all know, kids grow up really fast. So those high school students are going to be, you know, the ones who are the professionals in 10 years. And so what are we doing now to plant those seeds? And so, you know, I know that Activision Blizzard King has been focused on doing that. And I'm happy to see that. But I think everyone needs to take that same approach and just really think about how can we find this talent, support this talent, cultivate this talent, and get them to want to work here. You know, I also think that, you know, companies have to do a better job at like engaging the employee base with opportunities to give back and mentor. I know that colleagues here at Activision are really excited every time there's a mentorship opportunity or any of the partnerships that we've done with other organizations with, you know, children or students around STEM. People are really, really excited to do that. So just really, you know, broadening those opportunities, because as you like to say, Johanna, you can't be it if you don't see it. And so just really digging deep and reaching and bringing people along. I think we can do a better job at doing that. But I know we've started. So.
Love it. It's such a good answer. I couldn't agree more. And Mike, I see you nodding. What are your thoughts on the topic?
Oh my goodness, a lot of progress. And it may be a crawl, but like Mayumi said, 2020 was like, everybody should start sprinting now. Or now is the time to really respond to an opportunity. It's really not a crisis, it's an opportunity to learn and to grow and to mature as companies, along with the culture, along with the society. You know, the blinders are off, the eyes are open now to the realities of our society and of our world. And I've been incredibly grateful and involved in everything that's going on with the ABK Black Employee Network and being an ally with other employee networks. The fact that those exist, those came into existence a few years ago, you know, so this company gets it and cares. And I think that this can be a model for other corporations to look at and see. It's not perfect. No person is, therefore no corporation is. However, the progress being made here could be looked at as an example or something to follow, and we could actually take that on as a goal. Let us be the example to the rest of the industry of what you can do in the areas of diversity, equality, and inclusion.
Brilliant. Love it. That's so true. And I echo your point as well, even on doing things that are meaningful and significant before anybody's watching, right? You talk about that at the character level a lot, at the integrity level a lot, but what it means to just celebrate the diverse communities that global companies like Activision, Blizzard represent. We were celebrating Juneteenth with the Black Employee Network before everybody else was celebrating Juneteenth last year, right? And so that matters to me as well as a champion on the network side, and just doing right by the diversity that we have such an opportunity to celebrate regionally, nationally, the ethnicities that are represented here. It's a wonderful opportunity, to your point, and a position of strength, which I think is what you're getting to, and I love that. I think, Courtney, I want to lift your perspectives up, especially as we talk about 2020. It was a particularly difficult year for the entire world in many different ways. I'm curious, where you've drawn on support and inspiration in these challenging times, and particularly coming off of the year we just came off of.
Right. Well, I was just blown away about from the support that we got from the company, and that's just dealing with the one part with COVID, and that's still continuing to this day. And then when we hit such a critical point last year with all of the just racial injustice, it was awesome to be able to speak and connect and to know that there's just empathy behind our company, that it's not just this giant conglomerate of people and everything. The only thing that you hear is some sort of PR press, but to those who are not part of this company, like our leaders actually come to speak to us. It is not through just a corporate email or what you see on some news outlet that's being said about Activision Blizzard. Our leadership really truly cares about each employee, and Johanna, you were one of them that we had an early conversation with, and it was very casual, but it was just, how are you doing, and you created a safe and open and honest space for us just to come in and just to be, and to talk about all of the above that has happened in the year and how we're doing and how important it is that we have each other. And I think that family aspect, which is why, back to all of our points, none of us want to leave Blizzard Activision, is because we love that family unit and that feeling of being supported, and we all have each other's back. So I have nothing but amazing things to say on how I felt professionally supported from the company. I'm ready to get out of my house and back in the office, but at least it's been a great stride.
It's awesome and powerful. Mayumi, any thoughts on that as well? I know you've been such a lead voice on the network side in particular, but just curious your perspective just coming off of 2020 and how you yourself have drawn for support.
The network, drawing support from the network, because when Mr. Floyd got killed, or unfortunately, we had to watch that over and over and over again, and we were working from home, a lot of Black people were feeling isolated and afraid and angry and embarrassed, because sometimes when you're the only brown person in the room and you know that the whole world is watching what's happening to Black people, you're like, this makes me uncomfortable because everyone else is uncomfortable. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. So being able to use the employee network platform to activate, to create a connection point for people to check in and say, how are you doing? What do you need? Here are some resources, was invaluable. I mean, I met people I'd never seen before. Now we're in this virtual space so people can kind of like connect from all over the world. And it was so powerful to see so many people come together and be vulnerable and authentic. I also drew support from executive leaders. And I had some executives ping me directly and say, I know you're the leader of the Black network. What do you need? I need to know how I can lean in and help. So executive leadership really did step up, concerned, particularly the employee network leadership. I mean, they rallied and they said, look, we are here for you. We're going to hold hands, a circle around you. And we're going to make sure that you're taken care of and you're seen. And I'm just really appreciative of that.
I love that. And thank you for sharing so powerfully. And of course, I say it probably not enough, but I just can't thank you enough for the spaces you've stepped into, and the taxation on your own, well-being to serve so many others and to be a leader for the network at such a broad level. And, you just have done it with such grace and impact. And I think, both you and Courtney are really hitting home on themes of being in spaces where you can convert pain into progress and into a place where growth can happen, healing can happen. It unlocked, I found, the ability for different types of community to happen, different types of conversation to happen. And now to be at a company that's action oriented, to say, okay, how do we use that inertia and actually push forward, instead of running away from it because it's uncomfortable, or running away from it because it's awkward, or it's hard, has been really amazing to see, because it's really difficult to run into the fire, so to speak. Well, I know we've got a couple minutes. I want to do, which is probably hard, but a speed round, if we could, with each of you, a minute on the clock on your own hopes and vision for the future. You guys are leaders in this industry. You're the faces to the names. You are probably inspiring more people than you realize, even just having this conversation. And so if I could give the mic to each of you for a minute, and I'll start probably with Quentin, but what are your hopes? What's your vision for this industry and where you would like to see it go?
I know we talked a lot earlier about accessibility and just being able to see that people like us are in these positions. That's something that is really important to me. I know within the last year, I spoke to someone in my high school starting up an esports program. And even my high school was geared towards art and design. So you take a lot of people within like the inner city of Detroit and exposing them to areas and this art and design influence, and a lot of people not knowing that, hey, this is something I can do. If you're interested in it, there are so many different ways you can get involved with just the gaming industry as a whole. So really building out those paths, building out those bridges, and making sure that people know that these places exist is always something that I would love to see going forward.
Courtney.
Yeah, I'm going to echo a little bit of what Quentin just said. I am looking forward to continuing being a part of outreach from the company and having more opportunities like this, and soon, hopefully in person, especially with a lot of the younger, and my focus is also with females, especially Black females, letting them know that there's a space in the gaming industry, a space for them, and making them feel comfortable, and just educating them on all of the professions. I've never worked at a company where every single discipline is the best of the best. I'm just really looking forward to more opportunities of sharing stories and creating those uncomfortable moments, because I feel like you learn the best when you are uncomfortable. And I feel like in a corporate world, in order for us to stay true and authentic to the storytelling that we have behind our games, we need to keep those open and vulnerable conversations, especially as we're trying to promote diversity in our own games and our own storytelling. We need to make sure that we're following suit as the people behind it that are building those games too as well. So I'm very excited for our future. We have a lot of work to do, and I just hope that we can reach more people that want to join any of the movements that we find important on this, that any of us have said on this call. And I can't wait to look back in 5 years and watch this video and talk about how far we've come.
Awesome. Mayumi, your lightning round, go for it.
What I'd like to see for the industry. Well, I'd like to see esports go mainstream, all the way mainstream, like Super Bowl Sunday mainstream. I'd also like to see more leaders of color on the boards and on the executive leadership teams. these companies. I'd like to see more people of color permeating every level of the business. Mentorship is important, and having a mentor at a manager level is just as important as seeing someone, you know, sit in the C-suite who looks like you. So I think we'll get there if we keep doing what we're doing. We take these baby steps to increase diversity. That will then increase more leadership of color at the top. So that's what I want.
Awesome. And last but not least, Mike.
Oh man. Well, everybody stole all my answers, so I guess I'll just talk about myself for a minute. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, really, honestly, I echo everything that everyone said. To steal a line from Mayumi, normalizing brown faces in all these spaces. That is what I want to see in the future of our industry, is that this conversation is a novelty, not a necessity. That we end up just, oh, look at the CEO of EA. How about that? I didn't know he graduated Howard. I didn't know that the new head of marketing over at Ubisoft was from Spelman. I didn't know that. She's awesome. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is where this is a nice conversation to have. Remember back in the day when we had to talk about getting people that look like us into these spaces? Man, how about that? Look how far we've come. So that's what I'm looking forward to, where this is a novel conversation, not a needed one.
I love it. Well, I'm just so grateful to each of you. Thank you so much for giving up your time. You're so tremendously busy. So I appreciate that as well. And amazing conversation. I'm sure we could have talked for 5 more hours on some of this stuff, but you're an inspiration. You do amazing work. You represent the company so well each and every day. So thank you again. And I look forward to more.
Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Take
Thanks
care.
so much.
I'm gonna make some more things blow up now.
All right. Bye-bye.